Hello, second grade. This is Module 7, Lesson 16. Okay, so I have two different rulers here. This top one is a meter stick, or not a meter stick, a yardstick. And this bottom one is a regular inch ruler that's 1 foot long. So a yardstick is actually the same length as 3 rulers, or 3 inch rulers. So a yardstick is the same length as 3 feet, because we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. So that's 1, 2, 3 feet. So when measuring, we have to determine what is going to be the best thing to use, a yardstick or an inch ruler. Now, if we're measuring yards in a football stadium, we would want to use a yardstick because it's just easier. We'd have to use a lot of rulers to measure this football stadium. But instead of using inches, they use yards for a football stadium. So each of these, there's 10 yards, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So there's a total of 100 yards in a football stadium. Now, if we were going to measure a football here, would we want to use the yardstick or would we want to use the inch ruler? Right, we'd want to use the inch ruler because a football is a lot smaller than a football stadium, and it would just be easier to use an inch ruler to measure it. So, we are going to determine whether an object is less than, equal to, or greater than a yardstick. So the length of a book is blank the yardstick. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to a yardstick? Less than would be smaller, equal would be the same length, and greater would be bigger than a yardstick. So a book would be less than or greater than or equal to. Less than, very good. It is smaller than a yardstick, so it's less than. How about the height of the door? Is it less than or greater than the yardstick? Right. It is greater because the door is bigger than a yardstick. And how about the length of a student desk? Is it less than, equal to, or greater than? The length of a desk is less than a yardstick. Very good. So now we're going to determine the tool used to measure each object. Which would be better to use, a yardstick or an inch ruler to measure each of these objects? First, we have a rug. Which would be better to measure a rug? A yardstick or an inch ruler? We should probably use a yardstick because rugs are usually bigger and it would just be easier to use a yardstick and we wouldn't have to use as many yardsticks as we would have to an inch ruler. How about a book? If we're going to measure a book, should we use a yardstick or an inch ruler? An inch ruler would be fine to use here because books aren't really that big. They're not as big as a rug. So it'd be easier just to use an inch ruler. How about a pencil? Did you say an inch ruler? Good job. How about a chalkboard? Did you say a yardstick? It'd be easier to use a yardstick to measure a chalkboard because we would have to use a lot more inch rulers than we would have to use yardsticks to measure. Now it is your turn. You're going to determine whether you're going to measure each of these objects using inches, feet, or yard. So a marker, are you going to use inch, a foot, or a yard? Height of a car, birthday card, a soccer field, length of a computer screen, and height of a bunk bed. Circle the correct answer, take a picture, and then send it to me. Good luck.